Hey guys, it's Tika and welcome back to the channel.
So over on my Instagram page, I showed you guys a little picture of me and my son Jackson's really adorable Sonic themed cake. And I asked you guys, would you like to see me attempt more cakes? And shockingly, you guys are all for this inevitable train wreck that is about to happen. So we started this kind of you draw it, I bake it challenge. Jackson drew this adorable picture of a Gabba Gabba cake that he wanted me to put together for his brother Kayson's 2nd birthday. This is what we're going to be doing today. Let's go ahead and get started.
And if you're interested in more small batch recipes like the one you see here, feel free to subscribe and don't forget to click the bell so you can be notified every time I post a video. So the first thing that I'm going to do is start by filling and stacking my tiers. So this will be my top tier. It is a 6-inch round right here. And for my base, I have an 8-inch and I'm just going to fill and stack this as well. And once everything is stacked, I went on ahead and moved on to doing a crumb coat. Now, I tried to use a piping bag with some buttercream to crumb coat my first tier, and no, this was not working. I was literally struggle bust this whole tier. I ended up running out of frosting and eventually had to make some more. It was horrible, and I just cleaned everything up with a nice angled spatula, got it nice and smooth, and then I used an icing smoother to just get my edges nice and crisp and get everything just perfect. I also added in a couple of these big like bubble tea straws to give my cake a little bit more stability. It was kind of leaning and I didn't want it to fall over. I also finished up that second tier, the base tier, with some white crumb coat, and both of these went in the freezer for about 30 minutes. After they were chill, I started with my base layer first, and I'm adding some yellow frosting to this. This is going to be my Plex tier, and I am starting with the top first to make sure I have a nice smooth, sort of a grid to kind of go by. And then I got the ingenious idea to use a spatula to just add all of my frosting onto the side. It was so much easier. And then I cleaned everything up with my icing smoother. And went back in with my angled spatula just to crisp up those corners, y'all. Like, if the corners are not crisp, what are you doing? I went back in and added in a few straws here. Now this layer definitely has to have straws in it because it is going to be on the bottom and it's definitely not going to be able to support the weight of a full tier on it without some support. So I am adding in about 5 straws on this base just to make sure it is strong enough to hold our green tier, which is going to be Roby. And now I'm just going to finish putting my final coat on my green tier. So here I have another batch of frosting going on top, and I'm just smoothing it down again with my angled spatula. And then once again, I'm using my brilliant icing application technique right here. Y'all, this was a mess. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, but it's okay. It worked out. Everything worked out in the end, and that's all that matters. And then I'm going to take my icing smoother again, and I'm only going to smooth off a little bit of this frosting because I'm also going to take this little comb right here, and I'm going to just do a nice little pattern in my frosting. So I'm just taking the comb and I'm just scraping off a little bit. And as you can see, I have these beautiful grooves. And now I'm taking some dark green frosting and I'm just going to add that right into each one of these grooves. Now, the objective here is to take your icing smoother and gradually smooth away some of the frosting, and it's supposed to give you perfect striped lines. Right, I did not get perfect striped lines. In fact, it scraped off all of my lines, it scraped off all of my frosting, And it was a disaster, y'all. I tried again and again, and it was just not happening. I just got to the point where I was like, look, I'm gonna just leave it alone. And this is what I ended up with. And you know what? Like, I'm not mad at it. Like, I actually kind of like it. It looks imaginative. It looks like something you would see on a child's cake. And Broby's a monster anyway, so I don't think he needs to have perfect stripes. But I will say it wasn't the technique. It was probably the fact that I used 2 different texture frostings. Now that that's all finished, I am going to carefully stack my tiers. And I'm going to make sure that they are nice and like as perfectly leveled as I can get them. And then using a napkin, I'm just gradually adding a little pressure just to make sure the cake is in place. I'm going to take some green goo, aka green chocolate ganache, and I'm just going to do a little drizzle around the perimeter of the cake. And using some red frosting, I'm going to add a couple of little swirls. These are going to be Broby's horns. And using some fondant, I'm just going to create the facial features for Plex and Broby. It's kind of hard to really say what I'm doing here because I'm pretty much just improvising and just using what I have lying around the kitchen to create the look that I'm going for. It's not like I really had, you know, proper tools for this, but you are free to like follow along and just kind of watch what I'm doing. I don't really know how to explain it. And after letting these decorations stiffen up for a few minutes, I went on ahead and started adding them onto the cake. And that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and making this adorable Yo Gabba Gabba cake with me. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.